The pain thing can be like a cycle where you anticipate the pain coming, so you stress up or you tighten up, and then the pain comes and it's worse.
Chronic pain had her living in misery, and doctors say that pain put her at an even higher risk of heart troubles. Coming up on All Things Heart this morning, the connection between chronic pain and your heart.
From the University of Kansas Health System.
I am amazed. The team here is great.
I came on a Tuesday, and then by Saturday I had a heart in me.
I have never seen a group of people work together so good as this team of heart specialists. I mean, it's just unreal.
Stand by to set up show.
And the Dolph C. Simons Jr. Family Broadcast Studio.
Roll it.
Always makes you feel like you're the most important patient on the planet.
I felt heard, and that was really big.
This is All Things Heart.
Good morning. It's Thursday, March 23rd. I'm Alexis Del Cid, and welcome back to All Things Heart. Here's what we're talking about today. It's something that plagues millions of people. In fact, the CDC says 50 million Americans have chronic pain. Whether it's from an injury or a medical condition, it's pain that limits how they live their everyday lives. So today, we're diving into the connection between heart troubles and chronic pain and the options for help if you're one of the millions of people suffering from it. Plus, we're taking you behind the mask to show you what our amazing healthcare workers are like outside of the health system walls. That is a fan favorite. And as always, we love your questions and comments. They are the heartbeat of every episode, simply put. So make sure you send them to us on YouTube, Facebook, and the All Things Heart email. You'll find all those links right there on your screen. For most people, when you have an injury, yes, it hurts. But after a while, your body heals, you get back to a normal life. That didn't happen to Toni Nicotera after she injured her back, and it spiraled into something that affected her not only physically, but also emotionally.
They may be little, but wiener dogs have a huge presence in Toni and Ross Nicotera's lives. So much so, they have a nickname for their KCK home.
The Weenie Dog Hotel.
Molly Brown, Buster Brown, and Winnie also serve as pint-sized reminders of Ross and Toni's courtship years ago.
I was on Harmony, and I saw this picture of this man covered with weenie dogs and grandchildren, and I thought, that's the guy I want.
Unfortunately, it's little Molly.
Hey, Molly.
Who's also a reminder of Toni's journey with chronic pain. It was December 2021. Toni lunged for her and felt her back go.
I have a bulging disc, and it made it worse.
The pain was excruciating and constant. Nothing seemed to alleviate it. Toni says she felt herself spiraling.
The pain thing can be like a cycle where you anticipate the pain coming, so you stress up or you tighten up, and then the pain comes and it's worse.
And doctors say chronic pain is also linked to heart problems. Stress and anxiety from long-term chronic pain can elevate your blood pressure and your pulse. Over time, that can lead to a heart attack, stroke, or even death. Also, people suffering from chronic pain tend to limit their activities, becoming less active. Also not great for your heart.
And you're thinking, well, now I can't do this, and now I'm not going to go to this party, and I'm not going to go to this activity, and you start closing up.
She went to various specialists, including physical therapists, chiropractors, and MDs. Nothing seemed to work until she met the University of Kansas Health System physical therapist Thomas Riggs. During one of their sessions, he told her about a chronic pain class that he teaches. She signed up.
Like I said, maybe the rhythmic kind of way the waves come in, lapping up against the shore. That's why we have sound machines, by the way, that put us to sleep because it's so relaxing.
It was so wonderful to go to his class and realize it wasn't the end of the world. It gave me hope.
And not just hope. Toni says the class would ultimately give her life back.
Toni, we are so happy to have you with us today. Toni Nicotera, thank you so much. You look fantastic. We also have cardiologist Dr. Michael Pierpoline and Toni's physical therapist, Tom Riggs. Thank you both for being here. Toni, first I want to start with you. It's so good to see you with a smile on your face. How are you feeling today?
I feel great.
Are you still attending the chronic pain classes with Tom?
No, we finished the classes and I took the information Tom gave me and put it to practice. And whenever I forget, I remember what he said, that there's people walking around with bulging discs and don't even know it. And so I thought, well, you know, I take that, all those things he said really gave me hope.
It was life-changing for you. I want to.
Ashton Stubbs was also my PT lady, and she really helped me a lot too.
I want to ask Tom, what happens? Is it a chronic pain class, a course? What is it compared to the physical therapy that you do on your patients?
It's a separate program we started several years ago. We call it Restoration Highway, and we meet once a week for an hour for 4 consecutive weeks, starting at the beginning of each month. And we talk about, there's 2 different portions of it. We talk about the incredible nervous system that we have and how it might become extra sensitive to different stimuli that may or may not have anything to do with an injury or surgery or anything like that. And then there's a movement portion where we get up as a group and we go do some exercise for 8 to 10 minutes. And then the participants are asked to do some homework in the meantime.
And do you find that this is a class that you refer your patients to who are still struggling even though they're undergoing physical therapy?
Yeah, right now we've been self-referred from our own talented physical therapy staff, mainly because of COVID and the numbers that we could have in our class. And now we've sort of opened up our class to referrals from our primary care physicians.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I want to bring Dr. Pierpoline in because there is a study published in the journal Pain Medicine. And it finds that people with chronic pain may have more likely odds of having a heart attack or a stroke. Is that something that you see as a cardiologist in your practice?
It is. There's, it's always the correlation causation question, or the chicken or the egg, or which came first. But certainly the things that can lead to chronic pain, or obesity, sedentary lifestyle, can drive up things like high blood pressure and other things, and it may even mask some of the other symptoms of heart disease. So we do see that there is some correlation between people with chronic pain and more heart disease.
So is the heart disease and all the things that come with it causing the chronic pain, or is the chronic pain and all the things that come with that Tony described, the anxiety, the despair, it really actually hurts you emotionally? Is that what's causing it? What do you see more often?
And that's always a really tough question because sometimes there's a little bit of both. And so sometimes it takes some time to kind of figure that out and figure out what is the true cause. And our goal is to always treat the root cause and get people back to a good functional status. So that's always, our hope there.
Tony, what was it about Tom's class that was so life-altering for you, that helped you get back into the groove? Because you had tried so many things to try to alleviate your pain.
Well, he just gave a lot of research that talked about different things. And then so I started paying more attention to when I had pain and when I didn't. I didn't have it all the time. And I talked to him about that when I was eating or having fun or going on a vacation, pain seemed to go away. And when I was stressed out, it intensified. So, and he gave me, just ideas about how, you don't have to have the pain all the time. And you tense up when you're stressed, and that makes the pain worse. And you don't have to be on all this pain medication. And, you can do activities like walking or exercising that helps it. So Tom was just so informative with all these ideas and alternatives to medication that just intrigued me. It was like opening up a whole world that, I didn't know existed.
So the power of the mind and the power of really shifting how you think can positively affect someone's nervous system and alleviate pain. They just have to figure out how to do it. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Tony?
I think so. I mean, I just started thinking differently. Before, when I would get a shoot of pain, I would just think, oh no, now I can't do this because I'm hurting. And Tom, with his ideas, I was like, okay, you have some pain, move around. Oh, it goes away. Oh, everything's okay. We don't have to panic here, And moving seemed to be the real key of just keeping active and having fun and doing things I like to do,
How did you get into this, Tom? how did you go from physical therapy to also leading this class? It just is something that a lot of people don't know exists. I didn't know that this class existed.
When I came on the staff here 6 years ago, our management came to me and wanted me to take on this rising group of people in chronic pain, and thought that we needed to do something about it. We're community and nationwide leaders, and they really wanted to tackle this important group.
I want to weave in again the heart connection, because there is a heart connection. So Dr. Pierre-Pauline, if someone watching has chronic pain, they're obviously worried about their pain. They're worried about a whole host of things. Can they do anything preemptively to protect their heart?
Yeah, certainly. So, definitely the chronic pain can be an issue, especially when it comes to limiting some of their, activities or exertional activities, which is always a good guide for us. But definitely being on top of all their other medical issues, it definitely affects the heart. So things like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, increasing activity level, all these things can actually help the heart function over time. So those are very important things that we'll always focus on.
We put a QR code up on your screen, and I want to make sure you see it right now. You can scan it. It will take you to a link where you can learn more about who's at risk for chronic pain and all the treatment options available here at the University of Kansas Health System. And speaking of treatments, Tony, I do want to ask you, what were the treatments and therapies you tried and received before finally starting these classes?
Well, I had gone to physical therapy for other things before, and really was just taking pain pills. And then I was even thinking about getting a stimulator implanted in me, and so I was looking at things like that would help it go away. Wasn't looking so much at my thinking or my activity, because I was really limiting my activities.
Did you notice any effects on your heart because of your pain?
No, I have a pretty good heart, but emotionally I was just kind of, and then COVID helped that too. I was just kind of not doing anything fun anymore. And
boy, that's no way to live.
Right, it is no way to live.
We're getting a lot of questions from our viewers, so I want to get to some of our community questions, and we have one coming in from Bennett. Bennett wants to know, are there any warning signs for people with chronic pain that something could be wrong with their heart? So what do people need to be looking out for? Dr. Pierre-Pauline, I want to start with you.
Definitely. So chronic pain can definitely mask some of those things, but some of the classic features we always worry about is, especially during times of exertion, if you ever have chest pain or chest pressure, especially when doing some type of exertional activity, definitely if we have associated shortness of breath, dizziness, lightheadedness, sweating with that, or rapid or regular heartbeats with associated lightheadedness or chest pain, those are all things that we would worry about. And sometimes those can be masked by people who may not have been able to do the exertional activities they were before, or they may be feeling other pain that may be kind of masking some of those symptoms. So those are all things that we would be looking for.
Shannon has a question, and Tom, I'll ask you this one. Shannon wants to know if everyone with chronic pain is at an increased risk of heart disease, and even to rephrase it, do you refer all your chronic pain patients to see cardiologists or tell them to look out for heart troubles?
Not necessarily. Certainly, movement is the most powerful pain reduction technique that we have. And we would look for some things in our physical therapy program of those kinds of exertional problems there. If they were short of breath or having some sort of chest pain or some of these red flags that we might look at, and then we would refer them to the appropriate physician.
Clark has a question, and this goes kind of piggybacks on what you were saying. Wants to know if there are specific exercises, meditations, or stretches that you can recommend people at home can do right now if they have chronic pain, or he says, is it more of an individual basis?
When we see people exclusively in our department for physical therapy, certainly we can create a program that's tailored to them and their specific needs. We have some videos made from our talented staff here at the Health Systems Media Center that were made for our class, and those are available to anyone on the Health Systems YouTube page. And all you need to do is search for Restoration Highway under the playlist tab, and there are videos right there ranging from 8 to 14 minutes. And that's certainly a great place to start.
That'd be nice. Okay, Rick has a question. This is a good question. And Dr. Pierpoline, I'm going to ask you this. Are there foods that make chronic pain worse? Specifically, I've been reading about the anti-inflammation diet. Do you believe in that? Question from Rick.
Yeah, so there's certainly some, particular people like celiac who have a very specific dietary regimen who need to adhere to that. I think it's easy to get down into the weeds of those things, but I think a lot of the anti-inflammatory diet, a lot of it comes down to kind of some of the basic things that we will always, advocate for, specifically focusing on fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, legumes, olive oil, cutting down on red meats, fried foods, saturated fat in particular. These are all, kind of the core tenets of most anti-inflammatory diets, and really it's advocated for by all the professional societies as well in terms of heart health as well. So that's a good kind of place to start your dietary focus.
Does inflammation cause chronic pain that you see in physical therapy, or is it usually an injury or a condition that someone has?
I think all those things can go hand in hand. I don't think there's necessarily a cause and effect pattern there.
Maureen has a question for Tony. Maureen says, can you ask Tony if she's still in pain but doesn't worry about it as much, or if she actually has a reduction in pain?
Well, I'm still in pain, and I don't worry about it as much because I know now that it'll go away. And I'm distracting myself is really the best way I have found to get the pain to go down, like doing an activity, talking to somebody, reading a book, just get my mind off of it. And, I have to think back how I used to think. When the pain would hit, I would go, oh no, I got to stop doing things. And now it's the opposite. When the pain hits, I think, oh, just do something else and you'll forget about it. I know that sounds really easy, but this really works for me.
It's such a good mind shift. Tom just wrote in, Tom wants to know how many wiener dogs you own.
3. They're all behind me, taking a nap. They're not yelling, not barking.
Let sleeping dogs lie. As long as they're napping, we're good. We want to see them, but don't want to, make you bend over and pick one up. How many wiener dogs have you had over the course of your life? I'm just curious how you got into wiener dogs in the first place.
Well, it was Ross. When I met Ross, he had 3, and those dogs have gone over the Rainbow Bridge, and now we have 3 more with similar personalities. But it all just sort of happened naturally.
Now, if I remember, Ross told us when we were interviewing you that day that one time someone showed up thinking you really did run a wiener dog motel, and they thought they could stay there, or you got a call. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, that's because Ross is on the Wiener Dog face page, and so he's in contact with all these other crazy people that like wiener dogs, and somebody did want to stay here. But we only let the grandkids stay here.
I bet the grandkids love it. Marie has a question, a medical question. Marie writes, my dad hurt his back a few years ago. It still bothers him. Should I also have him see a cardiologist? He is very anxious about the pain. Doctor, Tom, what would you guys recommend? Should she sign her dad up to see a cardiologist, doctor?
Yeah, back pain is fairly common, so not necessarily, but certainly if any of those symptoms ever do occur, the chest pain, the pressure, the shortness of breath, or the rapid or irregular heartbeats, those are all signs that, we may need to be involved because there may be something hiding, and perhaps because of the back pain, maybe some of those symptoms have been missed. So not necessarily, but certainly we're always happy to see people for reasons like that.
And Tom, you're nodding your head.
Yeah,
yes.
Agreed. Certainly back pain is not a precursor to heart issues, but we'd certainly want to be aware of those situations.
Shelby has a question. Shelby writes, I'm curious if Tony can exercise like she did before her injury. And Shelby wants to know what helps Tony with her back pain the most. And I think you've been talking a bit about that, but feel free to expand.
I started a yoga class again. I did yoga 3 years ago before COVID, and then I didn't know if I could do it again with the back pain, but it's been working good. I also walk, and I use walking sticks. For some reason, I started those when I was doing PT, and then I've stuck with it. I can go faster when I have the walking sticks. I wanted to do Zumba. I'm not sure I can do Zumba because there's a lot of twisting.
Right.
But yeah, I'm back pretty much doing what I did before.
That is wonderful. And you are then, are you officially a former patient?
Of PT, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That must be nice. You grow attached to your patients, but then it must be nice to have them be former patients.
Great to have success stories like Tony, for sure.
I want to bring everybody back, our whole panel, for some final thoughts. And Tony, I want to start with you. If there was one thing you could tell our viewers, what would you most like to impress upon them?
It's not the end of the world when you have pain, but try to keep up your activities. And I really think distracting yourself from concentrating on it. When I concentrated on the pain, it got worse. And when I tried to forget it and do other things, have fun, it went away. So
you said it.
Tom's class really helped me get a lot of ideas of different things you can do rather than focusing on your pain.
And Tom, when we go to you, something Tony said was when she first signed up, I'm paraphrasing here, you were afraid it was going to be a woo-woo kind of class, and instead you presented her with a lot of science behind shifting the mindset. What would you like to tell our viewers about that?
Yeah, our brain is the most powerful thing that we have, and we can take control over our pain if we start to maybe think about things a little bit differently, all the stimuli that our body and our brain is processing. And as Tony mentioned, if we can distract ourselves. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who went to the Big 12 basketball tournament, had pain when he walked in, no pain when he was watching the game, and then the pain started when he was walking back out to his car. But during the game, he had no pain at all. Wow. So if we can do some of these other things, maybe watch a fun movie like Finding Nemo or Top Gun, and have fun while we're doing some of these other activities, we can use our brain to diminish and eventually eliminate our back pain, our chronic pain.
It's really something.
Yeah.
Dr. Pierre-Pauline.
Yeah, I would definitely echo what Tom there said. I think it's the paramount importance to get people active and moving and do the things that you want to enjoy. So I always tell people we're trying to optimize and get people so they don't have to see us near as often, and get people moving and doing all the activities and things that they want to enjoy. So we always will strive to get that done.
We have one more segment for you, and we love bringing this to you. It is called...
Now for a secret look into the guardians of healthcare at the University of Kansas Health System. Let's go behind the mask.
We are going behind the mask. We want to start with Dr. Pierre-Pauline. You have shared some incredible pictures with us. Gorgeous fall colors. Where was this taken?
This was in the Blue Ridge Mountains a few years back.
And you enjoy hiking with your family? You go solo? What do you do?
My wife and I really enjoy going hiking and spending time out in the wilderness, so we try to do that as much as we can.
And you also enjoy the racetrack. You sent us some pictures from there. Is that the Speedway?
Quite a bit. So this is actually the Circuit of the Americas at the Formula One race a few years back.
Oh, cool. Are you a big race fan?
Just a little bit.
Is that what you call them, race fans? Or what's the word?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tradition. My dad and I have been to almost every Formula One race in the U.S. For the last 10 or so years. So we really enjoy that.
What a cool tradition. And you're kind of a jack of all trades because you like cooking.
I do love cooking too, so it does go along with a lot of that, so definitely one of my other hobbies.
What is that, paella? What do you cook there?
So it's actually pad thai. Not my best work, but it was pretty good.
Pad thai is complicated.
I found that out.
So do you like to cook elaborate meals?
I make attempts to, but I'm part Italian, and so I usually, kind of come back to cooking kind of simple Italian food.
Pad thai is not simple Italian food. You really went outside the comfort zone there.
We did.
How did it turn out well, though? Your wife liked it?
It was edible.
It was. That's the bar. Edible. Okay, now I want to go to one more picture. Where was this taken?
So this was actually in Portugal a few years back.
Beautiful. Lisbon?
That was Lisbon, yes.
Yeah, and do you have any more trips planned?
We're actually going on a very delayed honeymoon to Italy next month.
Oh, when did you get married?
The peak of COVID.
Okay, yeah, so you needed to delay it. You're going to have a great time in Italy. I want to now go to our physical therapist, Tom Riggs, because Tom, you're gifted at helping people heal, clearly. You are also gifted when it comes to photography. You sent us some incredible photos that you took. These are stunning. It looks like a painting. What is this a picture of?
That particular picture is just outside of Bend, Oregon.
So we have a slideshow we're going to
Yeah.
The color in these pictures is stunning. As the slideshow goes, how long have you been a photographer?
My father educated me early on to the ways around the camera. He was the editor of our hometown newspaper, and I had my first photo published when I was 14, and then went on to get a college degree in photojournalism and worked professionally in that field for 7 years. And although I no longer do that.
Wait, you were a photojournalist for 7 years before you were a PT?
Right, right.
How did you have had many lives then. How did you make the switch to physical therapy?
You know, you think there'd be totally different, but if you're trying to make people feel comfortable in front of the camera, you make people feel comfortable about moving and exercise, there's not that big a jump there.
Do you travel? Gosh, that's gorgeous. Where's that?
I was in Utah, northern Arizona, actually.
Do you travel specifically to these locations to take the pictures?
I do, yes. Yeah.
And do you take your whole family when you go? You take your friends?
No, I usually go solo because I keep kind of really weird hours. I might hike in the dark. I might return in the dark. I might sleep in my car so I can be at this specific place at sunrise.
And do you sell the pictures anywhere? Because I could see those hanging
I
on walls.
do have a website, TomRiggsPhotography.com, but yeah.
TomRiggsPhotography.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to scope that out. Those are gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much to Tom Riggs, our physical therapist, and our cardiologist, Dr. Michael Pierpoline, for joining us today. I know you guys have busy schedules. And huge thank you to Tony for sharing your story with us. It is fantastic to see you with that big smile on your face. It's going to help a lot of people sharing your journey, Tony. Coming up next week on All Things Heart.
Because I was, too stubborn to die.
Too stubborn to die. You know, undergoing one organ transplant is huge. This patient had 2 organ transplants at the same time. We share his wild journey to better health along with the medical teams that saved his life. That's next Thursday morning at 10 a.m. We will see you then.